The victims of loan sharks have arrived at the federal capital Kathmandu to make their demands heard. This is the second time they have come to Kathmandu in the space of just over 6 months. Albeit this time they walked all the way from Madhya province, covering their journey in just over 10 days' time. Let us hope that all the pains undertaken would not go in vain. The culprits brought to book and the social ill called loan sharks wiped out once and for all. Good evening, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha and these are the headlines of the hour. The victims of loan sharks who started a long march from Madhya province arrive at the federal capital Kathmandu today. The victims want the government to address their demands at the earliest. The lawmakers from the ruling alliance and from the opposition remain divided on the amendment bill on forced disappeared persons and Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The government making preparations to hold talks with the side staging protest against the naming of Province 1 as Koshi Province. The death of a demonstrator further fuels the agitation. And three-star storm into the semi-finals of the Qatar Gold Cup. Edge past Friends Club 1-0. Manang Marshangdi Club take on Bagmati Youth Club tomorrow. The victims of loan sharks who started a long march from the Madhya province arrived at the federal capital Kathmandu today. They entered Kathmandu after passing the night in Chakhel, located in Makwanpur's Indra Sarovar rural municipality. Some 72 loan shark victims from districts including Rohtahat, Sarlahi, Mohottari had started the long march on 16th of March. The victims, most of whom are farmers and daily wage workers, said that they have come to the federal capital to make their demands heard. On the 10th day since they started their journey, they had arrived in Makwanpur's Indra Sarovar rural municipality yesterday. They stayed the night at a school while local residents made the provision of food. Majority of the people in the victim group are women, while a number of senior citizens and children have also walked all the way from Madhya province, undertaking a painful journey. The government last June had struck an agreement with these agitated victims, assuring them of justice at the earliest. The government at the time had also committed of making laws to nab such loan sharks. However, the victims have been compelled to wage another round of protests as justice has still eluded them. Then Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba last July had called an emergency cabinet meeting to settle the issue of the victims of loan sharks. A task force committee was formed and talks held as the victims, who had arrived at the federal capital all the way from Susta at Nolparasi West and Pratappur, were assured of justice. However, 8 months since then, some of the victims have been compelled to walk all the way to Kathmandu, following a painful journey of 11 days on foot. Loan shark is a common terminology in foreign countries, as the term implies a money lender who charges extremely high rates on interest on loan under illegal conditions. The unsuspecting victims put their properties as collateral and get eventually cheated. Many countries have termed this kind of activity as financial crime. However, in Nepal, there is no legal guidelines to stop this kind of financial activity. According to the Home Ministry, at least 3,551 complaints have been filed against such loan sharks in 35 districts across the country. Among these, 346 cases have been settled by the respective chief district officers, while 774 cases are in course to be investigated. Majority of the victims of loan sharks are from Madhya province. Lumbini has the second highest number of victims, followed by Bagmati province. Chapa, Morang, Sunsari and Udaipur in Koshi province have also reported of similar cases. Cases of loan sharks have been reported in all the 8 districts of Madhya province. Kathmandu, Lalitpur, Kavre, Chitwan, Makwanpur, Bhaktapur, Dhading and Sinduli in Bagmati province have also reported of such cases. In Gandaki province, such cases have been reported from Kaski, Tanahu, Parbat, Myagdi and Siangja. In Lumini province, Nolparasi, Dang, Rupandehi, Banke, Kapilbastu, Bardia and Argakhachi have seen such cases. Likewise, Salyan and Surkhet in Karnali and Kailali and Kanchanpur in Sudur Pashchim have also witnessed cases of loan sharks. The lawmakers from the ruling alliance and those from the opposition parties have remained divided over the amendment bill on forced disappeared persons and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Speaking at today's House session, lawmakers from the ruling parties said that the insurgency-era cases need to be settled through transitional justice and not through civilian law. Lawmaker of CPN Maoist Center, Shakti Basnet, said that the federal setup was established in the country through comprehensive peace pact and that all the parties should work together to safeguard the highest democratic institution. Chief Whip of Nepali Congress, Ramesh Lekhak, viewed that the issue of transitional justice was not related to any single party, but it was associated with the state. Meanwhile, lawmakers from CPN-UML and Rashtriya Prajatantra Party opined that a number of clauses in the bill needed to be changed as they clashed against the spirit of the Constitution. They viewed that issues related to the violation of human rights cannot be settled through reconciliation. The lawmakers also said that issues of transitional justice should be settled at the earliest in a way that it would not flare up the cases. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before that, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked you, why has the government failed to prioritize science and technology sector? 24% voted for A, unaware of its value, 62% voted for B, traditional mindset, and 14% voted for C, lack of budget. And here's today's question. What's your take on the efforts to curb the jurisdiction of the Speaker? Your options are A, party interest, B, trying to facilitate meeting, and C, Parliament's internal issue. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The government is making preparations to hold talks with the side staging protests against the naming of Province 1 as Koshi Province. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal held talks yesterday with the protesting side, which had become further agitated after Padam Limbu, who was injured in the protests in the province capital Biratnagar on 19th of March, a week ago, passed away. After discussions between the Prime Minister and the protesting side, the government has formed a 6-member probe committee under the leadership of a joint secretary at the Home Ministry. The government is also making preparations to form a talk team by coordinating with the province to hold discussions with the agitating side. A joint struggle committee formed by including various indigenous organizations has demanded to rename the province on the basis of ethnic identity. Although the government is making preparations to hold talks with the agitated side by investigating the incident in Biratnagar, the protesters have warned of continuing with the demonstrations until the province is renamed. Newly appointed Inspector General of Police Basanta Kumar has said that he will give priority to internal strengthening of Nepal Police. Speaking at a program held at the Home Ministry today, IGP Kumar assured that Nepal Police will strengthen to gain the trust of the people. IGP Kumar also informed that Nepal Police will be committed in curbing criminal activities, carrying out effective investigations, as well as maintaining peace and security in the country. IGP Kumar stressed on coordinating and working together with Nepal Army, Armed Police Force, and the National Investigation Department to strengthen internal security. Secretary at the Ministry of Home Affairs, Binod Prakash Singh, urged newly appointed IGP Kumar to carry out transfers and promotions by following rules and regulations. Secretary Singh also informed that the government is making preparations to introduce a new police act soon to bring improvement in the Nepal Police. In our Public Voice segment today, we have asked people in several provinces what should be done for everyone to have access to the loans provided by banks and financial institutions. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice. सरकारी तौरबाट नै एउटा नीति बनेर विकेन्द्रीकरणको सिद्धान्तलाई आत्मसात गर्दै त्यसलाई सही रूपमा कार्यान्वयन गरिदिएको खण्डमा त्यो ऋण प्रवाहमा चाहिँ समान वितरण हुन्छ।
हितोको मूल्याङ्कन गरेर ऋण अथवा कर्जा प्रवाह गर्नुपर्छ।
पहुँचको आधारमा नभइकन आवश्यकताको आधारमा चाहिँ ऋणहरू दिन सक्यो भने
त्यसलाई सस्तो बनाउनु पर्छ।
ऋण लगानी गर्ने प्रक्रियालाई सहज रूपले अगाडि बढाउनु पर्यो।
प्रशिक्षणमूलक कार्यक्रम अभिमुखीकरण चलाउनु पर्छ। गाउँ-गाउँमा
कम ब्याजमा सबैले वितरण हुनु पर्यो।
कर्मचारीहरूले यतिमा पाइन्छ भनेर जाउँ भन्दै त हुन्थ्यो।
बैंक तथा वित्तीय संस्थाहरूले जनचेतनामूलक कार्यक्रममा पहिले लानुपर्छ।
सस्तो ब्याज दरमा ऋण प्रदान गरिनुपर्छ।
जनचेतना चाहिँ अभिवृद्धि गर्नु पर्यो।
It's time now for the international update. A top security advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky today said that Russian plans to station tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus would destabilize that country, which he said had been taken hostage by Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the decision yesterday, sending a warning to NATO over its military support for Ukraine and escalating a standoff with the West. Meanwhile, Ukraine has called for an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council over Russia's announcement that it would station tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. Ukraine's foreign ministry said Ukraine expects effective actions to counteract the Kremlin's nuclear blackmail from the United Kingdom, China, and the United States and France, and demand that an extraordinary meeting of the UN Security Council be immediately convened for the purpose. NATO has criticized Russia for its dangerous and irresponsible nuclear rhetoric over possible deployment of nuclear weapons to Belarus. Belarus shares a long border with Ukraine and with NATO members Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. This will be the first time since the mid-1990s that Moscow will have based nuclear arms outside the country. The Soviet Union's collapse in 1991 meant weapons became based in 4 newly independent states: Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan, with the transfer of all warheads to Russia completed in 1996. The Belarusian regime is a firm Kremlin ally and supporter of the invasion of Ukraine. The Honduras Foreign Ministry announced that Honduras is severing the so-called diplomatic relations with Taiwan authorities. The official statement said there is but one China in the world, and the government of the People's Republic of China is the only legitimate government representing the whole China. Noting that Taiwan is an inalienable part of Chinese territory, the Honduran government severed the diplomatic relations with Taiwan and will not maintain any form of contact or official ties with the Taiwan region. Earlier this month, Honduran President Xiomara Castro expressed readiness to establish diplomatic ties with China. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson on Friday said that China welcomes the positive statement by the Honduran government on developing relations with China and stands ready to establish and grow bilateral relations with Honduras on the basis of equality and mutual respect.
Sports news.
Three-star club edged past Friends Club by a solitary goal to reach the semi-finals of the Qatar Gold Cup. In the match played at the Dhangari Stadium today, the first half ended in a goalless stalemate. Dipesh Gurung finally broke the deadlock in the second half to give Three-star the lead. Ajayi Martin's header had hit the crossbar and rebounded, which unmarked Dipesh converted into a goal. Dipesh was adjudged the player of the match. With the win, Three-star have booked a place in the semi-finals where they will clash with the winner of the match between Sudur Pashchim 11 and Nepal Police Club. Tomorrow's match of the Qatar Gold Cup features a clash between Tilotama Gold Cup champions Manang Marsyangdi Club and Bagmati Youth Club. It's time now for the weather update. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.